everyone, I'm Flo. Dude is behind the camera, and I'm so glad you're here today. We are making a delicious chicken cacciatore. Doesn't it look amazing?
Amazing.
And I'm going to show you how to do it in under an hour from start to finish, and it'll be tastier than a dump and go. Also, it's going to be in my new cookbook. Ready? Let's go. I've heated up the pressure cooker on saute mode to a high heat, and it's already hot. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Let's just make sure the bottom of the pot is covered in oil. I have 8 chicken thighs, and before I do that, I'm gonna have to season it with some salt and pepper. I usually use kosher salt because I like how it melts onto the food. And I've just kind of seasoned the top 4. And some pepper. And we're gonna put them skin side down in the hot oil. And we're gonna do 4 at a time because we don't want to overcrowd the pot. And then before I forget, I'm going to season the other side. Now, browning the chicken really adds a lot of flavor into your stew, or when you're browning meat in general. It adds so much more flavor to whatever you're making. And this is what is essentially different from a dump and go. When you're just dumping your ingredients in and turning it on, it's still going to be something really yummy. But I think my point is to always elevate that flavor and to take a few more minutes to brown your meat, and you'll see a world of difference. I'm going to flip over my chicken. It's been about 3 minutes on this side, and usually the skin will release quite easily if you've let it cook long enough. It doesn't stick to the bottom. While I am browning the chicken, I'm going to prep the rest of my ingredients. We have 1 onion. So I'm just going to slice it up, not bothering to chop. Also going to cut up my peppers. I have 1 yellow and 1 orange, just for some color variety to make your dish prettier. So we're just going to take the seeds out and this little white, I don't know what this is called, membrane.
Sure.
I'm also going to cut them into strips. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes on this side. I'm just going to put them in a bowl. Now, do you see all the little brown bits at the bottom? That's where all your flavor is. Just getting the second batch in. I have about ½ a pound of cremini mushrooms, and you can use white button mushrooms. It doesn't have to be cremini, but I found that these ones are nicer than the white ones, and I'm just gonna quarter them. And there's about 12 mushrooms here for ½ a pound. Okay, removing the chicken. And I'm putting my mushrooms in. I'll just let that brown in the fat that's in there. There's a bit of chicken fat and some olive oil. And that will also add some really yummy flavors to the mushrooms. I don't know about you, but I wish someone had warned me that the one question that I have to deal with every single day is what's for dinner. The struggle is so real. So I'm glad that I can offer you simple recipes using ordinary ingredients that everyone in your family will enjoy. So I let the mushrooms just kind of sit in the oil to brown. So they're nicely brown now on one side, and that is sufficient for me. I'm going to add the onions and saute that for another couple of minutes. Oh, it smells so yummy right now. So by cooking the onions and the mushroom, actually, it releases some of the juices, and you can scrape up the brown bits at the bottom so that you get all the flavor scraped up into the sauce. And the pressure cooker won't freak out and say burn when you scrape up all these bits. Because sometimes if you leave the bits in there, it thinks it's burning at the bottom. I also have 2 cloves of garlic. Just gonna remove this skin. I'm gonna add the peppers into the pot. Cook that for another minute. While that's cooking, I'll also add my garlic. And I'm just going to use my garlic press. Oh, I love the smell of garlic cooking. All right, that's it. Cancel your saute mode. Adding the pieces of chicken back in. So as you can see, the chicken isn't completely cooked through. You're just browning the chicken. It'll cook through during the cooking portion of the pressure cooking. And then any additional juices that are left in your bowl, also pour that in. We're using 1 can of whole tomatoes, and I'm going for more of the chunky, rustic look of this chicken cacciatore. But if you want it to be less chunky, you can always use a diced tomato. You can dice your onions and your peppers as well. I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And a little tip for you is any remaining tomato paste, just freeze them in tablespoon portions, and you'll always have tomato paste ready to go without having to open a new can. And you can see a tip video that I explain a little bit more on how that happens. I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, only because I couldn't find any fresh parsley today, which is weird. Well, I was looking for the flat leaf Italian parsley, and they only had the curly stuff, and I don't like the curly stuff. I'm also adding 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. Just going to try to mix this up a little bit. You can squish your tomatoes a little bit too, so they'll cook a little bit easier. I'm trying to push the tomato paste down to the bottom. I should have added that first. And there is enough liquid in here for the pot to pressurize, so you don't have to add any more. And where's my lid? Okay, putting on the lid, locking it into place, and making sure the sealing knob is on sealing. And guess what? We're only going to cook this on high pressure for 8 minutes.
Doesn't seem like very long.
No, because when I used to make this on the stovetop, it would take hours to cook, 2 to 3 hours to kind of slowly simmer on the stove. And now with the electric pressure cooker, done so quickly. But now with the electric pressure cooker, I can get dinner made so much more quickly. But it also, because it's in the pressure cooker and it turns off when it's done, it's not like I have to stay home for 2 to 3 hours while it sits on the stove. And so with the pressure cooker, I'm also able to just set it, forget about it, and then spend the extra time with my children. Like with my daughter, I don't think she talks very much during the day, so when she comes home, she has lots to say for about 20 minutes, and I want to give her my full and undivided attention. And if they need help with homework, I'm available to help them with homework without having to like, oh wait, hold on, I gotta do something on the stove or put something in the oven or I don't know, whatever else, stir. All right, that took about 15 minutes for it to come up to pressure, cooked for 8 minutes. We quick release the pressure and oh my goodness, it looks so good.
Nice.
So at this point, if you want to thicken the sauce, you can always add a cornstarch slurry, but I think we're just gonna leave it the way it is. And we're serving it with egg noodles tonight. So egg noodles will just soak up the sauce. And I think it'll be really yummy.
The taste. Wow, when you pop that lid open, all the aroma starts coming out and it smells so good. Can't wait to dig in. Flo, I gotta say, thank you for cooking at home. And besides saving the family money, you cook a lot of healthy stuff for us, so you know exactly what goes on in the food and into our bodies, and I'm so appreciative, so thank you.
Thanks.
Woo, man, this is looking pretty good. All the colors and the textures going on. Hey, where are the olives? Doesn't CACCIATORE have olives in it?
Well, sometimes, but you're the one who likes them, so I left them out.
Hey, you know what? I love that the veg is in discernible pieces, and that's why like, even after, and there were pretty big chunks going in there, and anything smaller, I think they would have just pulverized into just nothingness. Oh, I forgot to actually sauce this up a little bit, right? I was just excited about getting into the chicken. So we don't have the noodles done yet, but I'm just gonna imagine it together with all the different textures going on with the chicken and the veg and the noodles all together. So just like you, Flo, I like the rustic vibe going on with the vegetables and the chicken together, and putting it on top of the noodles is gonna be a really great look and taste. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.
Yep.
Remember, all recipes are flexible. If you don't like mushrooms, don't use mushrooms. If you don't like olives, don't use olives. But if you like them, add them. There's no right or wrong. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, check out my current cookbook here, and there's always lots more recipes off to the side there. Till next time, be simple, ordinary, and joyful.